Many of us are indoctrinated in a way by society, by our parents, by the common mindset of we need to improve, we need to be better. Better is the word, right? If we do something, that there's a sort of value scale that you need to improve or work on or become better. And that starts with behavior in a way where you focus on material accumulation, achievements, which is mostly what society judges people on. What have they achieved? How much money is in their bank account? Maybe how do they look? Something like that. And then somebody might find out that there's this world of personal development where they work on themselves and their behavior via their minds. They could start with something like affirmations, discipline, working on their action, forcing certain actions into being. And they could also force themselves to work more, to be more productive. They could also force themselves to exercise more, to look a certain way, to diet, to look prettier. They could force themselves to do all sorts of things. And then they might hear about spirituality and enlightenment being the answer to that. Working hard on yourself in a spiritual way, where you do yoga or meditation, breath work, or all these techniques, you go on these ceremonies, on these beautiful excursions of the mind, via, for example, plant-based medicine, via other things. There's this hole which has been created by all this stuff that this is not good enough how you are. Maybe you've gotten some sort of affirmation or confirmation from that, from your environment or your childhood. You need to be better. If you do this, you're alone, you're not good enough, or something like that. Maybe it's just a subconscious trend. It doesn't have to be trauma, right? It can be just general consciousness in society. And then we take that with us to not only personal development, but also spiritual development, where we need to watch more videos, we need to improve ourselves, we need to meditate more, we need to work hard for enlightenment, for maybe the drop of the self, or non-duality, or for some other thing. And even though there's no blame here about that, I think it's all fine and it's all innocent. But I can tell you I fell into that trap, like all those traps I just mentioned. And in the end what remains is seeing that it's just a trap. And yes, maybe identity has set it up in a way, maybe we're wired in a certain way. And all that meditation and all those techniques or accumulations of spiritual stuff, personal stuff, they're nice. I love them. I love all the worldly relative stuff. I love having a nice dinner. I love all this stuff. But in the end, we can come to the conclusion that it's not necessary, that there never was a problem with you. Unless there's some sort of serious problem, right? Which can sometimes also be caused by trauma or lack of this feeling that there's something we're missing, or that something's wrong, which is also a thought within that which is right already, which is okay. So we are good as we are. Again, if we want, we can stop working on ourselves. We can stop our spiritual journey. We can stop searching for any sort of relief, since this is fine already. And what we can find out, or what I found out, is that the working on ourselves is part of the problem. Part of the identity is not only maybe your sense of lack or a lack belief, but it's also acting on that. And that action is, I need to work on myself in any way. While some work might be very potent, other work might be a little bit necessary, but a lot of the work we're doing might not be necessary at all. Might be unnecessary. Might be the problem itself, might be the thing that's in the way. Gangaji is saying, we feel that there's just another insight or just another thing around the corner, so we better continue our hard work of alertness, of looking for our lack or limitation to try to alleviate that, while actually looking for the lack or looking for the problem is the problem itself. There is no problem, but if we look for a problem, we find something. We can definitely find something. And again, I think this business of more and more spiritual work, worldly work, accumulation of money, knowledge, it's fine. It's innocent. There's no problem with it. Do I think it's necessary? No, it's not necessary at all. You are already free. So maybe if this resonates with you, that you feel that I'm doing all these things in the world, and maybe even I'm doing all these things spiritually, but maybe that's the problem, then I want to invite you to stop practicing just for maybe a day, a week, a month, and just see how that resonates with you, if that works or not. For me, it was seeing that it's done. That was the problem. So work on the things you feel that needs your attention, but then let go and stop working on yourself, but just enjoy this beautiful experience of life. Bye, my friends.